All right. So this next movement video is very, very simple. Itchy nose, excuse me. So get yourself in a Wuchi stance. Toes pointed straight forward. By the way, safety points that I noticed. Last video, it occurred to me as I was watching myself, oh, hey, I hope everybody watched my disclaimer video at the beginning. So please go back and rewatch the disclaimer, or you don't need to rewatch it if you've watched it before, but make sure if you're watching me that you recognize that your training is in your own hands out there. I can't control what you're doing out there. So make sure this video series is really designed to be done with adequate Aikido and or Tai Chi instruction happening on the other side, not just me. Make sure you're nice and safe. In relation to that, just really briefly, I was exploring the Tai Chi families that turn their toes inward a little bit, and I really have found that that's just best for my Bakwa techniques. All these subtler things with Tai Chi, a lot of these exercises, I'm just not very convinced. So heads up. All right, so basically big toes or the space between your toes pointing straight forward, feet symmetrical, shoulder width apart. And we're just going to look at 3 movement pattern types that we can do without moving our feet. We're not even going to worry about our upper body. Just looking at basically, shall we say, the primary movements, primary colors, there's 3 primary movements, there's 3 primary shapes, triangle, square, circle, 3 in my head. Just let scientists argue about the details. 3 movement patterns, though, that you're going to see emerge here. So one of them is, and this is where you have to add just a little bit of yang to start your movement. You can't just rest and relax to do this, but you do want to rest and relax everything you can, and then just with as little effort as possible, everything deeply relaxed, I'm going to just tug my center sideways, just gently. I'm moving this, not anything else, directly sideways. And eventually, almost all my weight is in my foot, my one foot here, so maybe 20% of my weight's over there for now. It's not that important. Oh, I should have told you all to go meditate for a minute first. Sorry, I just came off of a class and my brain's in like a mood. It might be wise to take 5 minutes to do a meditation really quick in this stance before you do the rest of this video. Pause it and come back. You'll probably get better return on this video. Okay, apologies. It was a good class. So anyway, rest myself, rest your minds, and here's the reason I want the deep relaxation beforehand is I tug over, and it's just these muscles right in this region moving, and I'm just as soft as possible, and they bring me over. All I have to do to return to 50-50 is rest, relax. All those movements that all of those muscles that tugged me over, when they relax, I return to 50-50. This is an example of, I believe the term is Katsugan Undo. That might be wrong, but the concept is your body rights itself. So again, I tug over here, and I'm actually creating, we want to really keep a slight bend to the knees, posture really upright. None of this. No kicking my hip out. This is really, 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 really bad for your joints. Keep your hips underneath your spine in a nice flat way, all the way over here, and then rest back to center. Do this for just a couple breaths, couple moves. Over to one side. If everything is super relaxed, it only takes the tiniest tugs of muscles from here to move you. Just the littlest things, and that's what we're trying to find right now. Just a gentle tug over, And then once I'm all the way over, standing over that foot, I just release, relax, sink back to center. This time I catch the wave. It takes even less of a tug from my center to come over because I grabbed my momentum with that little bit of initiation. So again, from here I relax. And as I get to center, I just grab that momentum and it takes a little bit less of a tug to move. Feel that out for just a couple breaths. I get to the center and I say, oh, just a little more tug. Come all the way over here. And we're really trying to move this stuff first. Later on, we'll talk about activating the qua and all that fun stuff that you'll hear in Tai Chi circles. For now, we're looking at super basic motion. We didn't evolve thinking about every little muscle. We evolved feeling. And we really evolved to move from here. Aikido's more to the point with some of it, but Tai Chi's right there. So that's movement pattern one, is just straight side to side of our 3 cardinal moving patterns. So this time, I'm going to just add a little turn. It's just a little tiny extra tug that turns me. So I've fallen into a position now where my yin leg is in front of me. My yang leg is underneath me. And then I rest back to center, pick up that wave, just the tiniest bit of tug. Again, yang leg, and I'm facing my yin leg. So this is our second one. I release, relax, I start to come to center. When I get to center, I just add that little tug, tiniest little bit of energetic something from these muscles in this region. Okay, so this time when you come to the third, we'll come to our third movement pattern. So it's the exact opposite of the one we just did. I'm now going to move into my yang leg by facing it. So I've got a little bit of a turn, and I'm moving sideways. This one, the warning label is don't push your knee out. And on the other one, coming this way, the warning label is don't let your knee collapse in. Hip, knees, toes should keep a nice solid relationship between them. And you kind of have to learn what that relationship looks like, but that's what practice is about, right? So I'm going to just gently tug myself over here. I'm not going to let this thing start turning too far that way. That's it's terrible for your knee. The hip is the thing that's allowing for the rotation, the folding of this hip joint here. This the buzzword right now is qua. You'll hear everybody saying qua in the Tai Chi world now. It used to never be said. Well, it wasn't never said, but it was just like, you know, you'd hear a Chinese master say it and then be like, your hip joint. Now it's like every English speaker is like, the qua. It's your hip. So you've got this coxal joint. You're learning to listen to these 2 coxal joints and the sacrolumbar joint, where your sacrum meets your spinal cord. Those 3 joints. And this one up here, I'm going to turn. That's what it means by leading with the waist. These guys down here are the ones that gently tug. So in order to keep all that stuff nice and safe, my coxal joints are rotating subtly, so that my knees never collapse in like this, which is just asking for broken knee. Wow, that just didn't even feel good just doing that. And or as I come over here, I don't want to be like pushing that knee outward. So those are our safety points. Keep those knees in a good solid position. Learn to rotate your hip joints as you're doing this so that they're spiraling in there. They're not just side to side. There's a spiral being driven down into this leg right now. And that spiral has not taken my knee out from in front of my toes. It's still just right there. Over here, there's a little bit because there's because this is a yin leg and you're not putting weight into it. You can allow for a little bit more of a bend and flex to what's going on, but you still want to listen very carefully and make sure you're doing it with proper posture. And frankly, practicing push stance testing is probably the best way to find that. Okay, so I think I've covered the whole thing. It's really simple. 3 versions of moving without moving our feet. Almost every shape that we're going to do from up here is going to have some relationship with that stuff. Either side to side, just directly side to side. My waist joints barely even, the coxal, the lumbosacral joint, it's not doing its twisty tug, right? In this case, to lead with the waist is to leave it neutral. And it's all the coxal stuff down here. These ball and socket joints are called your coxal joints. So side to side is one type. Number 2 is falling backwards. And listen to your knees as your primary. Don't turn. My experience is most people try and turn more than they should. I am turning, I'm not even to 45 degrees with my hips. I'm not even there. I'm getting close to that, but I wouldn't say I'm quite there. When you add these arms, most people are like, whoosh, they try and make these really big shapes. It's a lot smaller than it looks. So again, number 2 is sinking backwards, keeping those knees aligned, keeping those coxal joints rotating so that you don't get into bad positions. Just got a little nice spinal adjustment from doing basic Tai Chi. So wonderful. Final one is turning forward into the limb. And this is the one that can really get problematic because it's the least natural. So really listen to your knees. Really make sure you're, I don't want to say rotating that hip inward, because if I rotate the hip inward, my knee's going to rotate, right? But I am leaving that hip in place, and as everything else turns around it, even though the coxal joint, the head of the femur stays in the same spot, this hip joint, it's called the acetabulum that connects to it, it's the thing rotating around the coxal joint. And that's what keeps everything here in a proper alignment, even though I'm twisting. And I can even twist quite far, a little dangerous there on my back leg for a moment there. And I can still, that's to me, hips at about 45 degrees. That's farther than I would usually go. But again, it looks big when you start adding the circle. So it can be really easy to see what I'm doing in the next video when we're practicing these circles and turn too far. So that's why I just wanted to do a quick primer on just those 3 shapes. Don't add any arms to them yet. Just explore. I like to put my arms here when I'm learning a new technique that's involving my legs or when I'm working on my basics. So go ahead and do that if that's helpful for your body. But don't do any technique up here. Just the legs. 3 movement pattern types. They take a little yang energy to start. They take a completely yin energy to come back to the center. And then you can hook into that and add a little yang. And that's it. Just those 3 things and the safety features. So yeah, have fun with it. You're going to find that this is chunking down and learning this very basic thing um, is going to really help you dial in on details. So yeah, anyway, I'm being pedantic now. Okay, so have a good night, everyone.